You've been awake for 16 hours today. By the time you close your eyes tonight, you'll have spent roughly a third of your entire life unconscious, lying still, doing nothing productive at all. No hunting, no building, no talking, no earning, just off. If you live to 80, that's about 26 years spent asleep. 26 years you'll never remember, never use, never get back. So here's the question. What if you didn't have to? What if humans simply stopped sleeping completely? Sounds like a gift, right? More hours to work, to live, to think. Turns out it would kill you faster than starvation. And the reason why says something strange about what your brain is actually doing every single night. I'm investigator Kataris, and today we're going to find out exactly what happens when a human being tries to outrun sleep, and why, in the end, sleep always wins. Let's start with what sleep actually costs you, because on paper, it looks like an insane trade. Every night, your muscles go slack, your senses dim, your awareness of the outside world nearly disappears. For a species that spent most of its history being hunted, that should have been a death sentence. A sleeping human on the open savanna is a human that can't see the lion coming. Evolution had every reason to get rid of sleep if it could. It never did. Every animal we've ever studied sleeps in some form. Dolphins, birds, even fruit flies. That alone tells you something. If a behavior this dangerous survived hundreds of millions of years of evolution across nearly every branch of the animal kingdom, it isn't a luxury. It's a bill that has to be paid, one way or another. So what actually happens if you try not to pay it? The first night without sleep, you feel it, but you can push through. Reaction time slows down, mood gets shorter. You reach for coffee more than usual. This is the part most people have already experienced. Treat an all-nighter for an exam, a long shift, a crying baby. Unpleasant, but survivable. By the second night, it gets stranger. Your body starts producing more cortisol, the stress hormone, because staying awake this long registers as an emergency. Your immune system weakens almost immediately. One study found that after just one night of poor sleep, natural killer cell activity, the cells that fight off infections and even cancer, dropped by nearly 70%. 2 nights in, and your blood sugar regulation is already behaving like it belongs to someone with early stage diabetes. By the third night, you start losing time in a very literal sense. Microsleeps begin, tiny, uncontrollable lapses lasting a few seconds where your brain simply shuts off, whether you're standing, talking, or driving. You won't always know it happened. Your eyes may stay open. Your brain checks out anyway. There's a case that shows exactly where this leads. In 1964, a 17-year-old named Randy Gardner decided to break the world record for staying awake for a school science fair project. He made it 11 days, 264 hours, under supervision from Stanford researchers. By day 2, he couldn't focus his eyes. By day 3, he was moody and uncoordinated. By day 4, he was hallucinating, insisting he was a famous football player, unable to recognize objects for what they were. By day 9, his hands were shaking uncontrollably, and he couldn't complete a simple counting task without forgetting where he was halfway through. He survived and eventually recovered fully after sleeping for about 14 hours straight, but the scientist supervising him, William Dement, later said he wouldn't recommend anyone try to repeat it. Some later reports of similar attempts didn't end so well. Which brings us to the animal experiments, the ones that actually answer the question in the video title. In the 1980s, researchers at the University of Chicago ran an experiment on rats, keeping them awake indefinitely using a rotating platform that forced movement the moment they began to drift off. The results were brutal and consistent. Within 2 to 3 weeks, every single rat died. Not from any single cause you'd expect, not from exhaustion collapsing their hearts, not from an accident. Their body temperature regulation broke down completely. Their immune systems collapsed so thoroughly that bacteria, which are normally harmless, began overwhelming their organs. Their skin developed lesions. Essentially, total sleep deprivation didn't just make the rats tired. It dismantled the entire operating system, keeping their bodies alive piece by piece until nothing was left holding it together. There's a rare human version of this too, and it's one of the most unsettling conditions in medicine. It's called Fatal Familial Insomnia. a genetic disorder so rare that only a few hundred cases have ever been documented worldwide. A malformed protein slowly destroys the thalamus, the part of the brain that regulates sleep. Patients gradually lose the ability to sleep at all. It starts with mild insomnia, then panic attacks, then rapid weight loss, then a state doctors describe as a waking dream. The mind acting out sleep-like hallucinations while the body remains conscious. Within 12 to 18 months of the first symptoms, every documented patient has died. There is no cure, there's no fix. It's the clearest proof we have that a human being simply cannot survive without sleep, no matter how badly the brain wants to. So why is sleep this non-negotiable? What is it actually doing? For decades, nobody really knew. It looked like nothing was happening. Then, in 2013, researchers discovered something called the glymphatic system, essentially a cleaning cycle that only switches on while you're asleep. During deep sleep, the space between your brain cells expands by up to 60%, and cerebrospinal fluid washes through, flushing out metabolic waste that built up while you were awake, including a protein called beta amyloid, the same protein linked to Alzheimer's disease. Your brain, in a very real sense, is taking out the trash every night. Skip that step long enough, and the garbage piles up in a place you really don't want it to. Sleep is also when your brain sorts through everything you experienced that day. Memories get filed, strengthened, or discarded. Skills you practiced get locked into muscle memory. This is why students who pull all-nighters before exams often perform worse. The information went in, but without sleep, it never got filed away where you could retrieve it. And it's not just the brain. Growth hormone releases mostly during deep sleep, repairing tissue and building muscle. Your immune system manufactures and releases infection-fighting cytokines primarily while you're asleep. Even your heart gets a break. Blood pressure drops by 10 to 20% during sleep, a nightly rest that over decades protects you from cardiovascular disease. Which means the honest answer to what if humans stop sleeping completely isn't more time, more productivity, more life. It's the opposite. Every system sleep maintains: memory, immunity, temperature regulation, hormone balance, cellular repair, starts failing within days and collapses within weeks. Total permanent sleep loss doesn't extend a human life. Based on every case we have, animal and human, it ends one in under a month. There's something almost humbling in that. We built civilization, split the atom, sent machines to other planets, and we still can't override this one basic requirement. For roughly a third of your life, your body insists on shutting the world out completely, and there is no version of human ingenuity that has ever found a way around it. Every great mind in history, every leader, every genius spent a third of their existence unconscious, defenseless, and it was never a weakness. It was the maintenance the rest of their life ran on. So tonight, when you feel that pull toward your bed and part of you resents losing the hours, remember what's actually happening underneath it. Your brain is washing itself clean. Your body is repairing what the day wore down. It isn't time lost. It's the cost of staying alive long enough to see tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. If you found it interesting, consider subscribing for more deep dives like this one, and let me know down in the comments what you'd like investigated next. This has been Investigator Kataris. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.